Oh, hey, welcome to part 4 of the Luthier's Lair series detailing the Lula build. Lula is the Gazzbass Jazz Bass, and in this episode we're going to get the neck completed. Hand carved, everything completed, right into spec. Jazz bass, of course, at the nut is 38mm, and that's exactly what we're going for. And a slim profile neck also. We'll size it up, check everything's parallel and centered and stuff, and then we'll get on to prepping everything for finishing, putting the finish on the bass. So, if you like building guitars, come and watch me do it. Yes, so we have recessed the neck, how you say, a fingerboard. Yeah, anyway, enough silliness. Recessed the holes in the neck that will hold the LEDs in the back of the fingerboard. See there, the holes are there. Here we have recesses in there, all cut to an exact depth, so that when we plunge this LED into there, it's going to be level with the fingerboard. It's just under level, by the way, because I have to do some finish sanding on this, and then we'll put a nice sealer on it and stuff. Yeah, a little bit of boiled linseed oil on there, just to seal everything in. So next stage is to route a channel here, and then we're going to route channels there and down here, and we're going to have a lattice work of circuitry for the LEDs, and we'll have a positive and negative side, of course, because it takes its DC current, and that's what we'll do next. So we'll make up a jig. The jig I make up usually is just a piece of straight wood clamped to the table. The neck will be double-sided taped to the table with really quite strong double-sided tape, really. And we'll use my little battery operated mini router here, see, and we'll angle it so that we're going to get a straight cut all the way up there, all the way down there, and then make all the tracks in there for the wires to go. The wires are very thin. They're actually like 28 gauge wire, very thin, low current, will be fine. And then of course in the body we'll have a protective resistor diode array that will prevent reverse current and all that rubbish that's in there. That's in the body. And I have a little LED driver circuit inside the body, and that's what we'll do next. Okay, back of the fingerboard was routed, the channels for the LEDs, and the LEDs just been installed. I'm about to test them, as you can see. It's just to hold all the wires down while I did my soldering, or soldering as they would say here. So lots of tape on there. Let's test them. Here we go. Yes, they work. So when this lighting off, see if we can get a better contrast there. Yeah, it looks nice. Yeah, beautiful. And that's how it's going to be. Looks nice, awesome. Now I can just wait for everything to settle. Sort of hot glue the wires in place. The LEDs are not quite flush with the fingerboard, which is great because it gives me a little room to do some final sanding on the fingerboard and stuff like that. Perfect. So I just hot glued everything in place, and then we can get to gluing the fingerboard onto the neck. We seek peaceful coexistence. I'm going to straighten you out. Yes, fantastic. Yeah, yes. So here we are. Just clamped the fingerboard onto the neck a couple of hours ago. Squeeze out there. You just leave, you don't rub that off or anything, because you'll just push it into the wood and it will hamper finishing. You just scrape that off with a razor blade after the fact, and I think we should test. Don't know if I've got batteries, hold on. Maybe we should test the LEDs just to make sure everything's still working okay. Let's connect this up. This is going to be awkward. Usually is. Let's stick that in there like that. Let's point this down. Let's see. LEDs, well, I'm going to get in your way again. Sorry about that. Yes, indeed. And we're good. All working down there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yep. They're all working. They're all fine. So that's good. Most people say that you can, you can actually. Let's put this back here a bit. Yeah, most people say that you can unclamp after a couple of hours. I like to leave it on, maybe 4 or 5 hours, sometimes all night. I mean, if I finish clamping a neck late at night, then I'll let it sit all night, clamped. We should be good to go there. I'm going to leave it another couple of hours. Nice, cool. Now, I'm running into a problem here, as you can see. Where am I going to lay the neck? Yes, I'd better get rid of some clamps here, yes? There we go, that's better. Let's put them down there. What a noise. Okay, let's see what we've got. Let's see what we've got. Chalk dust. John McEnroe. Yes, chalk dust. I always dust it down with chalk and stuff so that I can do that stuff. And yeah, look at that. Get rid of some of that squeeze out. You use a razor to get rid of that, okay? Don't sand it off. You're going to reactivate the glue and it will go into the wood. Even although you've filled the wood. It will go in, and then when you try and finish it, you'll get all these blotches like a something. And yeah, okay, so let's go and see if the LEDs still work. They will. They'll be fine. There you go. Hey. So now, what's the next step? Well, of course, the next step is getting rid of all that squeeze out that's there. Just take a really, really sharp razor blade and you just skim that off. Same with the other side. The other side's not so bad because there was a slight imperfection in the way I'd cut the neck, the fingerboard. I always leave it proud so that I can take the squeeze off out really easily with a razor blade and then sand it down after the squeeze off is away to its final shape. But it's looking good. Wow, man, it's looking really nice. Yeah, see? Oh, good job I've got strong wires in there, eh? And that's how the neck is going to kind of look. Of course, if I set that back down, in here we're going to cut that scoop that I talked about, because it's a huge step here and it looks kind of ugly. I mean, you can go with that if you like, but you know, you're not going to get this right string angle into the nut, into the tuners and stuff, or the nut. So that gets scooped out, smoothed into the headstock, and yeah, we're ready. After, actually, what I do next is the neck carve, and I won't put the frets in until after I've finished the fingerboard down to its final figuring. It is at a radius of 16 inches right now. See that? Oh. actually you can, sometimes you can pick it off, but I wouldn't recommend it unless you know what you're doing. If you're used to picking your nose and stuff, you could do this easy. But it doesn't matter. Okay. Yep. So here we go. I have this plastic nut that I usually use to just size things up. And as you can see, I've got 0.5 millimetre there, 0.5 millimetre there. That's great. That means I can contour the neck perfectly. And here's the nut I made that I plan to use. My God, what a state my thumbs are. Anyway, that's bass playing for me, folks. And as you can see, that's very good. Good fit. Needs polished, of course. It's polished up. There's like 0.5 mil there, 0.5 mil there. That's good because that's the actual dimensions of the neck. So I can pick that out. Should be able to with a sharp blade, very carefully. And you know, getting there. Now, carving the neck, yes, it's going to be carved. So I go for a scoop into there, smooth, or should I make a sort of very unusual thumb stop, which I did with my Falcon Series 2 head version. Falcon Series 2 is a headless bass, but I did make one with a headstock that looked like a penguin, not a falcon, anyway. And what I did was I made a ridge here that was a thumb stop, and it seemed to help with certain modes of playing, so we'll see. Very unusual, and in fact nobody's ever done that sort of style of headstock before, so I might go for it for originality, and so I don't get sued by Fender. But that's kinda in between a P bass, early P bass, and a jazz bass headstock. So if I do something different there, then nobody can argue, you know. Hi, yeah, I just started neck carve on the Lula bass here. Can't remember. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Yeah, so just started neck carve, and I'm gonna, you know, show you the ins and outs of neck carving by hand. And I'm missing one tool set right now that I have on order. They're thumb planes. I like to use thumb planes to merge in the neck to the fingerboard, but the set I did have are just they're beyond redemption, so they're on order. They'll be here tomorrow, so I can only do a certain amount today because I always trust my thumb planes. So let's go and see what we've got here. Yes, so here we are. The basic tools you'll need for curving a neck: a couple of rasps, nice strong beefy wood rasps there. Okay, some fine needle files for working around the heel and the headstock as we get closer to the finito, and of course a Shinto rasp. These are awesome for removing large amounts of material at once. You can use a spoke shave. Hold on just now, I just spied one at the side of my eye there. This is I used this spoke shave in 1997 when I built my Thistle bass, the first bass I ever built. I carved the neck with this spoke shave, and of course sandpaper. I don't really use spoke shaves anymore. I get much better control and finesse with the Shinto. So anyway, the first objective is what I did was I rasped out a trough here. Now at this point, just after the nut, about a centimetre after the nut, I want the depth or the thickness of the neck to be 21 millimetres. Okay, that's pretty shallow. It's a jazz bass after all. Thin neck, thin taper, everything. So I took this down to 22 because I'm going to be using a rasp and I don't want to take off excess material by mistake. So this is 22 millimeters here, this dimension, and then up near the heel here, I made this. This is to get down to like nearly about 23.2 millimeters. I made this 23.5 millimeters. That dimension there. Yes. Now, first, the total goal is to get these down so that these troughs shrink and become circles and then disappear. Then we can go in and shape the heel and shape the wood around the headstock. Okay, but the first thing to do is to start blending in the neck into the fingerboard. Okay, that's the primary goal to start with. So you just go ahead with the shinto, and you can see the amount of material coming off just with that. You know, that's a fantastic tool. Remember, the goal here is merely to get the neck to blend in to the fingerboard. Okay, that gives you the edges to work with. Then you can start going shallower angles to figure the curve. Now, of course, this is 21, this is going to be 21, this is going to be 23. That gives you the taper of the neck. And you can always tell as you're going along if you're favouring one side or the other. Just scribble pencil marks on there, use a bit of 80 grit sandpaper to go across as you get in there, and you'll see the low pieces and the high pieces go away, and you should be able to blend it in really nice. I'm going for the more of the C-shaped contour in this build, which is what my customer prefers as a neck profile. I do all different sorts of neck profiles. The Falcon Series 2 has a very special neck profile. It's flatter in certain areas. It's like a compound structure there. It's a characteristic. What's the word? My God, I'm getting old. Anyway, so you just go along with the shinto, keep working away. The shinto, of course, has a rough side and a smooth side. Yes. It's a fantastic tool, and it takes off material really quickly. You can carve a neck in a couple of hours. If you work a couple of hours straight, you'll get a neck carved. I don't do that. I step back and just have a look and, you know, go have a cup of coffee, do something else, and then come back to it. That's the way I work with the necks. I don't put it full in, because your brain can get muddy and wander as you're doing this stuff, because it's such an awesome thing to do. You sort of I take your mood off and you know, and you can screw it. So I like to take little breaks and go do something else, you know. But well, when my thumb planes come in tomorrow, I'll show you them. They're really nice. I can only do a certain amount because I use the thumb planes to merge in the last slivers of wood into the fingerboard. So that's where that goes, you know. Isn't that cool? And the good thing about this jig is you can loosen it and you can change angles if you want to work on just this little bit here. Just go down like that. Yes, that's nice. Conversely, of course, you can do that. If you like an uphill challenge, you like to look at your work in that respect, good thing to do. Gives you different perspectives to work in. Normally work flat in these stages. No, she's right there. And that's how you do it. I'll show you probably the finishing stages of this. You don't want to see me shintwing the crap out of a piece of maple for a couple of hours, do you? Didn't think so. Yeah, thumb playing time. Just getting this neck blended in to the fingerboard. It's the old thumb plane. Tiny shavings we're taking just to get this blended in. See that? Hardly anything, really. Did a good job with the sanding. Just planing it down now. Rough edges out, and then we'll go over again with the sander. Little thumb plane. It's got a curved heel on it. I have a flat heeled one as well. Oh, that's not it. There's my flat heeled one. Fantastic little tools. And then for the other side I'll just reverse this, because I don't want to work against the bench and be doing this and doing that. It'll give me a good sight. That's as much as I'm going to plane that. I think, yeah, just take a little shaving off. Hardly anything really. And then I'll get to work with 80 grit, blend that in. Then we can concentrate on the next part, which is starting to figure the curve of the neck and getting these two troughs to disappear. So let's go. So I don't know if you can see in this light shadow over there, you see that? Nearly down to making this trench that I did earlier disappear. The neck is within spec. Let's take a template here and see what the shape's like. Oh yes, it's absolutely spot on. It's a jazz bass neck template there. Beautiful at the nut. Absolutely spectacular. There's still a little bit of meat there, but I'm going to make carves and here to blend it in and sweep that round. Up this end I have to do the same. It still needs to be kind of blended in yet. I'm nearly there too, so this is like 3/4 done. Tool marks to get rid of and stuff, and then we'll do the fine carving around the headstock and around the heel, just to make it nice and rounded and everything. Then we'll have a finished neck ready for first build, first installation. A little bit of a gouge there, never mind. Yeah, the next stage will be to assemble the bass fully, just to see if everything's positioned correctly. Then I can go on to finish it, and then wait a month or so, and then we'll be good to go. Indeed. Brilliant. Yes folks, so we're all blended in, all roughed out, the neck contour is fine. Indeed. Lovely. And up here too, although you can't see it, fits nice. So now, what do? I'm just starting to file away the carve that sweeps into the headstock. Now, I don't want to be slammed by fender, so I'm giving it a different sweep. It's much more, well, I don't know, it's a little bit more that way. This is the first neck I've made. I've made jazz bass necks before. I've made about 50 of them. But this one I want to be a little different. And what I'm doing is I'm taking a fine needle file and I'm just carving this to a sweep that I think would be nice. And you know what? When I build another one, it might be slightly different. But I'm going to template this just to make sure. I've got it down. If I like it, that's great. See, there's a little bulge here. I'm going to take that down. This side though is nearly there. All I need to do is just scratch that away a little bit. And it's got it in the headstock. See the contour there? I don't know if you can see the shadow. I put a shadow on it. God, there you go. Shadow there. See that? Yeah. See the way it changes? So this needs to be rounded off a little bit more, or sort of squashed out a bit more, because it looks kind of like it's a boil, like it's got pus in it. So I need to just shave this down a little bit with the needle file. Make sure that blend there. See, there's still a slight indent there from the carve, which is what we tidy up with fine carving. And if you've seen the Federa workshops, when you go into the Federa shop in New York, the basses Victor Wooten plays, you will see them do this. Sure, they use CNC up to a point, but then they hand it on to guys who are experienced woodworkers, and they do this. They get out their fine needle file set and they exquisitely carve every little facet of the neck. I encourage you to watch those videos. Federa videos, Vinny Federa's shop in New York. It's absolutely inspiring. It's beautiful to watch and see doing this and getting a great shape after it. Getting lighter and lighter in touch. Seeing just tiny bits of material come off until that carve is absolutely perfect. That's what you want to do. That's what you want to do. Perfection. Well, see this, right? And this, right? And this, right? And this, right? Whoa! That can all get to. And all my thumb planes too. Get to. We're using these now, see? Nearly there. In this neck anyway. Shall we go down a bit? Yes. See? Scooping out a nice shape in there. I got to make this a different shape from fenders. Yes. Of course. And here. That's getting there too. And we use needle files for that. Go around the maple. That's what we do. To carve out all that stuff. Make it very fine, nice. I love the smell of bass guitar necks in the morning. I certainly do. And it's not even morning, that's the thing. So, yeah. Just go, and this too, whoosh, away it goes. So, nearly there. Nearly there. That's about it for part 4. There's probably going to be a lengthy delay between part 4 and part 5, unless I don't get... well, there probably won't be actually. I'll show you some of the spraying probably in the next episode, and then there's going to be a lengthy delay while I wait a month for the lacquer to cure. Well, lacquer doesn't cure, it just dries. So, yes, indeed. So, I hope you enjoyed this episode, and join me next time. In the meantime, stay safe, be good, and thanks very much for watching. Cheers, folks. Bye. Bye-bye.